And I believe, too, he's been taking it in his guitar, not plugged in and playing it. He's a bass player. You know those bass players, man. This
pretty sad when you're getting ticketed for air guitar.
Dude, this guy can play guitar. Have you watched any of his videos?
I have not.
Oh, man. Yeah, he can play. He's fantastic. Anyway, these guys feel that their freedom of speech rights are being taken away from them. They want to know, wait a minute, why is it that we have to stop at 10 o'clock at night, but the bars down here can have their doors open with the live band's music blasting out the doors? Some even have speakers outside. That's okay, but we can't be out here with our guitars unplugged. All right, we're going to hit that right after the news, top of the hour. More of the Jay Thomas Show when we come back. 970 WDAY 93.1 FM. Anyway, so he's got sound bites of so the chief is going to start arresting street performers.
Well,
if they're performing downtown Fargo.
Basically what he was is telling me is there is a specific cut of the chief here where he's discussing with the mayor using the magic words to silence a musician with an arrest, according to the specific sound bites. And there's sound bites from all of the city commission members, including Arlette Preston and others asking questions about whether or not they'll have decibel meters, et cetera. This is the particular cut to which I believe Patrick is referring.
I'm just curious, so what's really going on when somebody files a complaint?
Well, if we have a complainant, we can refer that for prosecution. What we're seeing on our end is that a lot of people don't want to be the complainants for that for a variety of reasons. We can't issue a disorderly conduct on our own volition. So unless we have a bona fide complainant, and there could be times when we don't get there in time for the violation. I'm sure that happens as well. But there are times when if we could get a complainant and we know who the person is, we could still follow up with a referral.
So if Commissioner Kolpak is downtown to dinner or something, she could complain and then you would have to enforce? Okay.
Yeah, if she's disturbed. I encourage you to read the ordinance. You need to be disturbed, alarmed, a couple other key terms that you might want to utilize when you talk to the officer, and it makes it real easy.
Oh, so you got to use key terms if you really want the hammer to come down. And look, again, you can't put this on the police officers. They're following this ordinance that the city has put together, which makes no sense in the fact that these street musicians, after I believe it's 10 o'clock on certain nights, some nights it's 11, cannot be performing on the street. And there's certain decibels they can't be going over, from what I understand, reading parts of the ordinance. But yet, there's nothing against the bars downtown. I'm just saying, this is where it doesn't make any sense. A bar can have live music, and they do it downtown Fargo. And the doors are open. You hear the music blasting out the doors. Or some of these places actually have speakers outside, if I'm not mistaken. And they're blasting the music, but that's okay. But a couple guys or gals or whoever it might be can't sit out there and do a little MTV Unplugged without getting a damn ticket. This doesn't make any sense. This downtown Fargo is a mess. Makes no damn sense whatsoever. And Fargo city leaders, some of them, they want this big metropolitan downtown feel like they have it, because they'll refer to, look at Minneapolis or look at this downtown or that downtown. Okay? But then you go and do this, because this is what you're going to have in these big downtown cities. You're going to have, and let's be honest, if you want people coming down there to spend their money, and the businesses want that, I'm a firm believer that the street performers, musicians, whatever it might be, isn't that part of the draw to a downtown area? Look at look at all the talent down here. Look what's going on. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the hammer down, and you can't perform after. No, look, if you're a band out there and you're rocking out, volume cranked. Yeah, you got a 20-piece Mapex Mars Pro Series drum kit out there. You got your Telecasters cranking. All right, I get it. Hey, come on, man. But I've watched the videos. These guys are they're not loud. They're just sitting there, a lot of times they're playing unplugged. In other words, there's no amps. So we're going to bring in Patrick Kelly. He is a street musician, performs in downtown Fargo, or tries to. And he said, look, man, this is wrong. We're done at 10 o'clock, but the bars can have the music blasted out the doors until, midnight, whenever. This doesn't make any sense. This dude's been ticketed over 100 times. And I think it's criminal now, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it?
Yeah, there's something mentioned in there about the criminality of the ordinance. Yeah. So.
Anyway, Patrick Kelly's going to join us next in studio, and we'll let you weigh in. Look, you may go, Jay, you know what? This ordinance is, we need this ordinance. You may say, no, this is ridiculous. So I guess my question will be, how late do you feel street musicians should be allowed to play in downtown Fargo? Once again, we're talking about downtown Fargo again. It just can't stay out of the news. So now there's a new one, and I didn't know this until my guest here in studio. He called into the show one day, saw the blue, and I know we were talking about they had the big, I don't know if you want to call it sweep, but they, Fargo Police, Cass County Sheriff's Department, North Dakota Highway Patrol spent a couple nights downtown Fargo on a weekend and issued a ton. I've got the list somewhere here in the studio. A ton of citations and tickets, and one of the things I caught on there was street performers. And wait a minute, street performers? What are street performers doing that the police, are busting them? I mean.
I didn't think there was anybody belly dancing down there.
Well, that's just like we got pole star dancing going on down here. What is going on down here? And then Patrick called into the program, and he's a street musician in downtown Fargo, and a hell of one at that, by the way. So I started watching some videos. I'm like, holy smokes, man. I didn't know this was going on, that there was this ordinance. So Patrick joins us, and I said, Patrick, you got to come on the show, man. So I know you were busy, and today worked out, so here you are. Welcome to the Jay Thomas Show, Patrick.
Thanks for having me on, Jay Thomas.
You can move your mic. You can put your mic wherever you want.
All right. Appreciate you having me on. Patrick Kelly's my name.
I'm telling you, man, you can tickle a bass, brother. I got to show you the bass that's sitting in my office.
Thank you, man.
It's Fieldy's bass from Korn.
All right, yeah, I play anything with strings on it, ukulele, mandolin.
You do it all?
Guitar, yep. Try to do a little bit of everything.
How long have you been playing?
Probably 20 years.
Self-taught?
I had just a bunch of buddies that could really play, and they just kind of forced me along and put a lot of time in.
You sound fantastic, dude. You really do. I'm watching video after video. I'm going, holy smokes, this guy is really good. All right, so what's going on? Give us some background on this ordinance. How long has this thing been in place?
I think maybe, I want to say a month.
Oh, so it's really new.
Yeah, I want to say maybe month and a half. So they passed 180310. And basically they tried to do a light touch, and I think it's been a heavy hand.
Okay, so walk us through this so people understand. Before this ordinance, and basically from what I understand, this ordinance, the way it's written is you can't, I believe it's from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then the ordinance is 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Friday, and then 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday, and 7 to 10 Sunday. But maximum number of decibels permitted, is that what this is?
So what they did is they're saying no street performances after 10 p.m.
So it's not even a decibel thing anymore. It's when 10 o'clock rolls around.
It should be a decibel thing because they already have a sound ordinance. So
that's what I must be looking at here is the sound ordinance, and they've got
which is 11.
Well, they've got 55 for residential, 65 commercial, 80 for industrial.
So I've had both kinds of tickets. I've had officers at one point in time drive by and say, all right, guys, you got 5 more minutes. And we're before 10 o'clock, so it's not even street performing.
Hey, guys, you got 5 more minutes. Can you play some Zeppelin, man?
Yeah, he says, you got 5 more minutes. And our guy that was playing yells back, could we have 15 minutes? And he says, you can have 10 minutes. 3 minutes.
So we're negotiating now.
We're negotiating. 3 minutes later, another officer drives up, says he can hear us from down the street, and writes us all tickets.
After an officer said you guys can keep on playing.
Exactly. And he didn't have a decibel reader on him. I said, how did you know what the decibel reader's on? There's no decibel level on the ticket. So, I mean, it brings us to the place where they're not using decibels. They're allowing decibels from businesses, which by the code, it defines a person as a business. Mm-hmm. So you can't skirt that. Like the businesses, the bars, the food carts, the rickshaw guy. Downtown is super duper loud on a Friday or Saturday night.
I bet it is.
But it's also a really good time. It's what brings people to the city. It's what brings college kids here. It's a historic downtown bar district.
Now, you and I were talking off air because you want people to look. You're not blaming this on law enforcement; they're just doing their job.
So here's the deal: law enforcement. I really feel for them because when they get told to come out, and they've had 6 different directives this summer, like it's just a constant revolving door of enforcement and the disappearing authority figure. So they get sent out to shut me down, and the people walking by who are out, having a drink and enjoying downtown Fargo, which is awesome, they're not very nice to the police officers. They're hurling insults at them. They're saying, "What are you guys doing? He's playing a guitar.
Yeah.
Like, why are you writing him a ticket? He's, you know what I mean? Is he going to be arrested? Like, what's going on?" And they'll have 5 officers come out, pull cars up on the sidewalk with the lights flashing. Now, for me, not the end of the world. I'm an older guy. I'm a little professional. But when I play with some of these younger individuals, guys that come out that are 16 years old, is like 10-year-olds playing with me. Mm-hmm. And if the cops come out and do that, it's a pretty scary deal for them. But so I don't want to get off on the cops. You know what I mean? Like yeah. I appreciate law enforcement. I think what they've gone through in the recent years hasn't been good as far as their image. Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that they're being forced to do this, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the higher ups. You know what I mean? So
it is the higher ups.
And it's big business. It's the fact that big business can say, okay, shut this guy down. And then they say, okay, we took care of the problem. But then they say, well, but you didn't take care of the problem. So then they keep upping the ante. They recommended a $100 fine, and then at the last minute slipped it in. So now it's a $1,000 fine, a criminal citation they're writing us.
Are you? They're fining you $1,000,
and they're forcing us to bring it to the judge and have the judge decide whether it's constitutional.
So we're wasting our court. We're talking about how the courts are just overwhelmed right now. It have been for a long time. That the workloads are huge. And they're piling this on top of everything else that the courts have to deal with. So now if you're downtown strumming your guitar, whether it's, an acoustic, whatever, they're giving you fines that big and you have to go to court?
The city prosecutor who we went and talked, we thought, hey, maybe if we just explain our case, he can throw this out because it's nonsense. He said he won't even dig into whether it's constitutionally, like whether he ethically can prosecute. He won't even dig into that until we motion with the court and quote unquote do the heavy lifting.
And I want people to know, I reached out to try to get somebody from the police department or the city to come on last week.
A lawyer's going to cost me $8,000.
Nobody'd get back to me.
Oh no, it's impossible to get anyone in city government to return their calls. Nobody's at their desk. Everybody's in a meeting. If I want to get a lawyer to fight this, even just to fight the $1,000 fine, $8,000 from a lawyer.
That is ridiculous. So let me ask you this.
And Jay, if you want the audio, I've got Commissioner Strand talking with the city attorney about that. From
how long's the audio?
About 50 seconds.
How long ago was this?
According to this, it was dating back to August 22nd of 2022.
Okay, so this is recent.
Play it.
All right, go ahead, play it.
Looking for in order to enforce that ordinance. So by the court of $100 fine for a violation of that offense. So it's not a change, it's more of a clarification.
And if I might continue, that $100 recommendation for a fine, how does the affected industry respond to that? Because they're probably not accustomed to that being triggered or activated. So this would be, the enforcement of it probably would be new. Is it reasonable, or are they okay with it, or do they want it gone, or?
Well, that I don't know. Of course, it's a question of compliance with the ordinance on the noise levels. We did talk about, education and warnings. So I do think that the police will be involved in providing that opportunity for compliance.
And just bear.
I have no words for this. I just don't. None of this makes. This just doesn't make. Here's where it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from the standpoint that at 10 o'clock, street performers, street musicians, you have to shut down. You're done. Even if your decibels are at like 10, doesn't matter. You're done. But any bar down there can have the live music blaring out their doors. Some places, I believe, even have speakers on the outside that's playing music, correct? And that's okay. There's no, unless, can somebody call and complain about that? Do they get shut down?
They not only in person refuse to enforce it against anyone else, but if I call in now, the dispatch center is no longer taking my calls. If they patch me through to a supervisor, the supervisor won't deal with me. They're not bringing anyone out to deal with it. Like it's which that gets them into the trouble of the constitutionality as far as free speech. It's because they're not content neutral. So when I'm playing out there, it's live music.
Yep.
And I would say pretty edifying, pretty good sounding stuff. And then on their case, they're using pre-recorded music done by DJs or a live band, like you're saying.
Sure.
But it's, if the rickshaw guy's going up and down the street and everybody's partying, to allow him to continue to operate his business, but tell me I have to go home and go to sleep and then refuse to enforce against anyone else. That's where that's selective. There's some picking and choosing winners and losers.
Exactly. They're deciding who's going to fly, who's going to die, basically.
Which, I mean, I know
financially
gentrification is a big word, but it's I think it's some social conditioning. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to have Fargo be in, their little city in their image, and I just think that it's, people live here. Culture is what culture is. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm positively impacting culture. I'm entertaining little kids and getting people on the microphone, and people are having a blast. And
now, when you're down doing it, and I've watched your videos, and it's one thing to watch a video than actually be down there, but to be down, how loud? I mean, I believe in one video you have a decibel meter. You pulled it out, right?
Yep, absolutely. Like and the police chief said that they were going to have officers have decibel readers. And they're writing these tickets and all this stuff. There's no decibel readers being used. Nobody has a decibel reader. One cop I talked to said he had decibel readers, but they don't work that well, and there were only 2 in the department. No one's asking to be loud.
But see, here's
no one's asking to be loud. Like we can.
But here's where I'm lost again now. So they say the police officers are going to have decibel meters, but they don't.
But they don't.
Okay. So what are they enforcing if they don't have?
They don't even have complainants. The chief tried to go to the city council and instruct the city council on what magic words to use from the code, so we could be arrested.
That. Yeah,
so we could be arrested.
Ronnie, play that audio. So this is at the city commission meeting. This is the chief of police telling the commission.
If somebody goes on record as a complainant, that they could retroactively prosecute us.
But you have to use these magic words.
If you use these magic words, that you're disturbed, annoyed. So when I tried to call in and be a complainant against other people, which I hated doing, because honestly, I love the sound.
But you just wanted to see what would happen.
I just wanted, it was a First Amendment stress test, and they failed miserably, because when I called in, I said, I'm disturbed about this. I told them that when Lieutenant Alfeld had his camera crew down on Broadway, and one moment people are hurling insults at him, and he's the villain, and he goes up a half a block down the street, and he's asking people to pose for pictures with him, and now he's the hero. I think that's a performance.
Yeah.
They disagreed with my premise, apparently, because Lieutenant Alfeld didn't get a ticket for his performance.
Play that. You got that audio again, Ronnie? Is this from that same meeting, same date, August?
No, according to this particular meeting took place September 6th of 2022.
Okay, so even less time from today. Okay, and this is Fargo Police Chief David Zabolski talking to the commission.
Talking to the mayor, Dr. Tim Mahoney, who's asking specific questions about what they have to do to file a complaint.
And they're laughing about this. This is my life, and they're on there laughing about it.
You guys are getting screwed, man. You really are. Okay, go ahead, play it.
Files a complaint.
Well, if we have a complainant, we can refer that for prosecution. What we're seeing on our end is that a lot of people are not don't want to be the complainants for that for a variety of reasons. We can't issue a disorderly conduct on our own volition. So unless we have a bona fide complainant, and there could be times when we don't get there in time for the violation. I'm sure that happens as well. But there are times when if we could get a complainant and we know who the person is, we could still follow up with a referral.
So if Commissioner Kolpak is downtown to dinner or something, she could complain and then you would have to enforce? Okay.
Yeah, if she's disturbed. I encourage you to read the ordinance. You need to be disturbed, alarmed, a couple other key terms that you might want to utilize when you talk to the officer, and it makes it real easy.
Wow. Wow. Let me ask you this. This comes from a listener. Let's see, let me find that one. There it is. It says, for the $1,000 fine, why not just plead not guilty, go to trial, and get a public defender and fight this thing?
So one of our buddies, Mike, who we showed up with in court the other day, Mike had the criminal citation and asked for a court date right away because he was working. He had to take work off. He pled guilty, and I don't know how much these guys talk beforehand or how much the city prosecutor talks to the city attorney, talks to the judge. Do they all know these are coming down the pipe? Either way, he pled guilty and just said he couldn't fight it, didn't have the money, didn't have the time, would have to take off work. And the bond was $100, and the prosecutor recommended a $200 fine. Judge said $200. How can you pay for it, or when can you pay for it? And my buddy, he said he wanted payment plans, and my buddy said, I'll just pay for it.
Okay.
So I mean, so even there, so $200 just for pleading guilty.
So how many tickets have you racked up since this went in? When did this ordinance go into place? Just a couple months ago?
Yes, but there's kind of been like a intimidation type thing that they've been doing since the beginning of last summer, or towards the end of last summer, and then all summer long, even early spring, all the way
this past spring and summer,
all the way through. Yep, and they it started with tickets for loud noise, and then now they've done the 180310, where it's a criminal citation for street performing after 10 p.m.
Tyler, young Ty, my news dude in the afternoon. Can you find that?
Which ordinance are you talking about?
It is. I just wrote 18. Is it 180310?
It's in your email.
I couldn't find it in my email. I was looking.
It should be in your personal. I'll send it your way anyway.
No, I've got my personal, but I couldn't find that one in there. I've got the.
I sent it as a reply to the previous.
Okay, okay, all right.
It should be there, and then all the points for that it should be there as well. I also have the ordinance 5372, which is how it was signed into law or enacted, I guess. I can keep looking for that as well if you'd like. Otherwise,
I just found it. Yeah, I just found it. Yeah, performers of sidewalk entertainment may perform on any sidewalk or pedestrian way provided that such performers shall not violate the prohibitions on disturbing, annoying, and unnecessary noise as set forth in article blah, blah, blah. Not violate the prohibitions on panhandling as set forth. In other words, don't sit there and beg for money. You can put a case out there, do whatever, but you can't be harassing people. Not obstruct or cause to be obstructed pedestrian or vehicular traffic. Every single video of yours I've watched, you are not blocking any type of pedestrian walkway or traffic. Not sell records or tapes or other products. Perform only at times between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. Not consume under influence. Not perform any near than 150 feet from another professional sidewalk entertainer who's also performing. I understand that. Not perform at locations designed for a community event or festival unless permitted to play at that community event or festival. Comply with all federal, state, local laws when performing within the city, including but not limited to panhandling ordinance, noise. Not perform within 50 feet of a push cart or permitted outdoor eating area. Maintain the permitted area within a radius of 10 feet of trash and debris. Not create a fire hazard. Not engage in application of tattoos. Not blah, blah. I mean, this thing goes on and on and on and on and on. Not leave any equipment, props, or items unattended. Not construct a stage or platform. Do not block a handy. So all this stuff I'm going through, I've watched. Not display or offer food or drink for sale. So everything that I've watched, all your videos on your Facebook page, I haven't seen you break any of these. The only thing that they're getting you for is that you were performing after 10 o'clock, correct? And that's where they're nailing you with big fines.
Yeah, which I guess is, and the problem with that is, again, it's the content neutrality. So they're allowing some people to amplify their speech, and they're allowing their businesses to stay open, and they're not subject to fines, intimidation, the threat of arrests, all the things that I'm subject to. And according to the according to the city government, if you go on their website and you define a person, they're as much of a person as I am. So the fact that they're not enforcing against them, I guess, it's the part where they're not only breaking my civil liberties, they're breaking my heart.
Patrick Kelly, so listener wants to know, could people of Fargo get together, sign petitions to get a law change to be voted on by the public? That's you can, but you got to get I can't remember what the signature amount is. It's a lot of work, and I don't know about that. I don't know how you'd go about this one, Chuck. I don't know, but wow. I mean, here's what I don't get. So you have these city leaders that want Fargo to be like a big metropolitan downtown area, you know, the nightlife, all this, but they want that, but yet they're going after the street performers. They want this. They want to help all the folks that are homeless down there, but yet they don't want the homeless. It's just it's a mishmash of stuff down there, and they can't get their hands around anything down there, and it's a shame because I'll say it again: downtown Fargo is a gorgeous place, beautiful. Almost $1 billion has been sunken into that. You can't have the best of both worlds.
Jay,
and part of having a downtown is street performers. I've lived in Big Sur, I've lived in Denver, I've lived in Los Angeles, I've lived in Minneapolis. Street performers are part of it. Now, if you guys are out there at 10:30 at night and the decibel meter is just blowing off the end because you got your Marshall amps plugged in and you got the drums mic'd up, you got a full kit out. I understand that. That's not what you guys are doing. You're sitting out there basically doing a little MTV Unplugged.
Yep. And if somebody in the past, anytime anybody's come up to me and said, "Hey, you're a little bit loud," and historically when I'd play out there, every once in a while the cops would come out and talk to me. And 99% of the time, they'd say, "It sounds great. Just could you turn it down a little bit, or could you move down the block, or just anything?" It's not that anyone's pushing to have this crazy volume. I mean, maybe there's been some in protest this summer, but nobody's looking to have the loud volume. We're just looking for it to be applied, for the law to be applied equally, or they can shut down everyone and make Fargo Bismarck. And everybody goes to bed at 10 o'clock.
Well, see, I'm almost wondering if that isn't what, in some of the city leaders' minds are, because, see, downtown was built on bars and restaurants. That's what it was built on. And then you started getting more shops down there, which is fantastic. And then you started building condos down there, and people started moving in, and you started turning it more into a residential. And, we got like 4,000 people living down here, but wait a minute, we allowed all these bars and establishments to be down here, and, wait a minute, we can't have this noise. You can't have it both ways.
So here's one of the problems, I guess. Somebody early on told me, well, why don't you go talk to the Downtown Community Partnership, and they'll get you straightened out. And so I went in there and talked to them, and interestingly enough, they said the exact same thing that the leadership at the police department said. They looked me right in the eyes and said, "Patrick, it's different because they're a business and because they've been here for a long time." And I literally just put up my hands and said, "That's communism. Like, you can't have..."
Who cares how long they've been there?
Like, I've read Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I've read the Gulag Archipelago. That's communism. Can't...
What did they say when you said that?
They're, in my opinion, they're being intellectual cowards. Like, they're being intellectual, dishonest cowards.
Do you think there's some businesses down there? Do you think this is coming from some businesses going, "Oh, wait a minute, you're allowing these street performers and street musicians to play, and it's hurting people coming into my door"?
No, 99% of the businesses love it. You don't think Dempsey's loves that I'm sitting out in front of their bar playing music? Dempsey's loves that. It means that if you go outside to have a smoke, you can have a good time. You go back in and you start drinking again.
Yeah.
And then it also, when people drive by, they say, "What the heck is going on at Dempsey's? That sounds like a good time."
So where are the complaints coming from? Who do you think is complaining? Who do you think is behind this? Say that for when we come back, okay? I want to know who you think is behind this thing. If you got a question or comment, my phone lines are always open, 701-293-9000. Email in studio, it is studio@wdayradionow.com. Jay Thomas Show. He's a street musician, Patrick Kelly in studio, and we're talking about I guess the ordinance they have now downtown, and street performers are told, 10 o'clock, you're done. You've been ticketed, what now, about 100 times? Is that correct?
So I've been, I guess, detained, cease and desist. The number is over 100 as far as total encounters or interactions. If you pull up my I had an issue where I was in Moorhead and I got pulled over in kind of a seedy neighborhood, and the cop came up to the window and he said, so, after I gave him my license, he came back and said, so you're a musician? And I said, well, how did you know that? And he said, well, when I ran your name, it says you had about 20 encounters with local Fargo PD in the last month. And I said, they're kind of harassing me a little bit, and it's, there's not a lot I can do about that. And he said, all right, have a good night or whatever. But
Sure.
I mean, obviously that gives them perception of me, or it doesn't make me look good. So there's all that. And as far as the non-criminal violations, I think I've had 3. One I pled guilty to, another one I'm challenging, and then another one I'm making them send me through the mail so I can sign for it through the mail. And then the criminal one, that one I'm also having them send to me in the mail. And so 4 in total, one being the criminal one, yep.
So I asked you before the break, Patrick, who do you think is behind this? Getting you street performers, or, because it's all street performers. Doesn't matter if you're doing magic or what. 10 o'clock, you're done. Who do you think's behind this?
I saw the unicycle guy the other day, and I warned him not to be out there past 10 p.m.
He can't be out there past 10 p.m.?
Well, not if he's performing, according to their
So what do they think downtown shuts down at 10 o'clock? Do they not see what goes on at 11, 12, 1? I mean, it doesn't shut down at 10 o'clock.
So I think Arlette Preston maybe has had a history of kind of doing things on her own and kind of going her own way. We had a meeting with her where it sounded like she was kind of on our side, but apparently I don't think that's the case. No, I think it's
If she was on your side, she'd be standing up for you guys at the commission meetings.
I think it's the Downtown Community Partnership on behalf of the Jasper. So the Jasper brought them the problem. They were ideologically both, I guess, convinced that since they're businesses and they've been there for a long time, that gave them some special right. I even went to the auditor's office in City Hall and said, hey, do you guys have any, is it in their building code? Is there something that gives them the right to do this? Because the police were initially claiming that they were businesses and they had this right and then, they could do that. And, I said, well, I don't think they do. Like, I think you're going to have to show me their permit because I don't think they have one. And it turned out they didn't, but so they're just kind of zigging and zagging.
They're picking and choosing.
But I think where they're at right now is it's got to be big business. You know what I mean? It's allowing one kind of business and disallowing another kind of business. And I don't know if it's some of the riffraff, as you would call it, maybe downtown. They love listening to my music. Mm-hmm. If I start playing music, that's the coolest thing going on for them.
So is this your source of income? Is this your job, Patrick?
It is. Yeah, I'm a musician and a poker player. So in the summertime, that's all I'm doing is playing music, and it's and I love doing it. You know what I mean? It's like it's my calling, or it's my I like entertaining people. I like giving people a chance to get on the mic and hear what their voice sounds like.
Sure.
People are videotaping, and we kind of live in an age of content where content is valuable.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Ronnie, when you're in Vegas, let me know what time the street performers have to shut down on the strip.
I will do that. Yeah, I'll talk to a couple of them and kind of get the gauge.
Let me know when they have to shut down there in Vegas. Another listener says, I wonder if the reason behind the ordinance isn't to protect the businesses. As businesses, they are paying all the taxes and specials for downtown streets, whereas the street performers aren't. If the street performers are pulling people away from the indoor entertainment venues, I could see as a tax-paying business, they have a right to protections that differ from street performers. And we brought that up, and you said, you're telling me the businesses love it because
it's foot traffic.
It's foot traffic into the business.
It's the downtown being a lively, awesome downtown. Like, there's big cities all across the country where street performing is a vital part of like the energy and the culture and if you take it away, it's Bismarck. Turn the lights off at 9, everybody go to bed.
Well, I would say probably one of the more
can't get a pizza after 9 at Bismarck.
One of the most legendary places there is would be Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco.
Well,
it's kind of where street performing got its start, I would think.
I used to play on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd play right on the Jimi Hendrix Star.
Yeah. All right. So what do you want them to do? What do you want to happen?
I'd like them
What can my listeners do?
Well, your commissioners can...
No, my listeners.
Yep, your listeners can call the commission. They can write the commission. They can email the commission. They can go to the public forum, part of the commission meetings, and be heard. I think what we want is just an even playing field. Nobody wants to be loud. Nobody wants to... if the bars and the food carts and the rickshaw guy and everybody else down there, you know, if you have a Bluetooth speaker, if everybody else is going to be that level, just make it an even playing field. That's all we want. You know what I mean? So either make it 2 a.m. like it is for everybody else, or actually enforce the code, I guess, and make everybody go home at 10. Make everybody shut down at 10.
Oh, when you say everybody, you mean?
They're currently enforcing this, Jay. I mean, they've gone bananas. Like they're currently enforcing this at 1 p.m. on a weekday against a guy playing just a single bass with nice heavenly melodic bass notes. And they told him they could be heard from 25 feet away, and they forced him to stop.
I'm so lost on this because.
But then every business, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of infrastructure that these businesses have where they have speakers in the nook of the entryway.
Yeah.
And why do they do that? Because it creates ambiance, makes it look like you're a big deal and things are happening and it's a fun place to be.
I'm so lost on us just because it just doesn't make any sense to me.
The other option is the same way that they have the parking enforcement and they don't rely on the police. They have a company that does the parking enforcement.
That does that.
I'd like to start a company that does sound enforcement. I could write 100 tickets a night if you get a ticket from being heard from 25 feet away.
Well, look, and again, I'm not going to put this on law enforcement because they're doing their job. They didn't write the ordinance. They're doing their job.
But the leadership is refusing to enforce it
equally across the board. Exactly. And it should be enforced. If you're going to enforce it, then you enforce it equally, like you said, across the board.
Otherwise, it's not content neutral, and they're breaking constitutional rights. They have been, and they are.
I just, and look, so I don't go downtown. I just don't. So if I'm downtown on a Friday night, can you keep bringing up? Is there a rickshaw that runs around downtown?
Yeah, it's awesome. There's a guy that has a bike and then he's got a little cart in the back of it.
Really?
He'll ride people up and down for just a tip. So if you just give him a tip, he'll ride you anywhere you want to go.
So you got the rickshaw man down there.
But then he's pumping.
Must used to work at Phil Wong's, home of the rickshaw man. Remember those commercials?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got him. What else you got down there? You said there's a guy on a unicycle cruising around?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of street performers. There's people playing music. I mean, there's a lady that plays an accordion. There's food carts.
I know there's food carts. Yeah.
So, and the deal is everybody's playing Bluetooth speakers. Like, we live in the future. An iPhone can get to 100 decibels.
Hey, listen. I actually know how to use a Bluetooth speaker because I got some Bluetooth speakers.
Right? So even there, like it's everybody's generating noise. There's bar patios. I see a bar patio go up.
They're all over
the time. There's more and more constantly.
Yeah.
And they're promoting that kind of activity. They're building those kind of buildings. They know that there's going to be a bar in there that's going to want to pump music. And if anything, just to try to make a little money this summer after they shut me down, I would go play by the really loud bars. And they'd come try to shut me down. And I'd say, guys,
just on purpose because the bar's louder just to see what would happen, and they'd still shut you down.
Even there, I've had tickets written where I was intentionally trying to play below the level of the bar, and they came up and said, hey, we got a complaint for loud noise. And I say, was it me or was it the bar? Because they're louder than I am.
And what was the answer?
They said it doesn't matter. You're street performing after 10 p.m.
Oh, wow. Greg, Jay Thomas Show.
Yeah, howdy. Yeah, it's got to be these bar owners there, Bud, because they're outside listening to you, and it's probably good music in the summer. They're outside listening to you, and they're not inside the bar drinking beer.
But you're saying hold on, Greg. I asked Pat, and Pat, you're saying that's not it. The bars you say because you play in front of Dempsey's, they love having you there.
Yep, exactly. And if anything, I mean, obviously, if they're selling beer and sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Greg.
How about these people that are owning these $1 million condominium lofts, and maybe they're trying to sleep, and you're out there playing. Maybe that's pissing off some of these high rollers that got these fancy places downtown that maybe they're trying to sleep, or and then there's noise, or I don't know. I don't live downtown, but
well, the bars are making more noise than he is,
and nobody's asking to be loud. Like if anything, if you have a home or a condo downtown, it's downtown. It's flat in North Dakota. You can put up a building anywhere. You could build a hotel out in the country, but if you want it in downtown Fargo, in the middle of the business district, the historic bar district, you got to expect a little bit of sound.
Well, exactly, Greg. Appreciate the phone call. That's like, the issues in the past, and people
Detroit Lakes.
People go move out by the fairgrounds. They complain about the noise at the fairgrounds. The concerts are too loud, or the races are too loud, or the fireworks show is just too much.
But a lot of people
bought a home next to the fairgrounds.
But a lot of people like it. If you look at what happened in West Fargo, they put up that lights. Lights.
We love it out there.
And I'm saying there's like homes circling a concert venue. And they're somehow able to fill it up with people that live in those apartments. They don't care that there's music going on in the square.
Patrick, are you going to keep performing down there?
To be honest with you, I've thought long and hard about it, and a lot of this made me more angry than I should have been. But when it comes to, I guess, my public image, they made me look like a criminal. Now, just to fight for my rights, I presume on some level I look like a complainer. So if my gig is trying to get the public to tip me and come down and have a good time and listen to my music, I think they poisoned the well. I might be done as a street musician in Fargo.
Do you? You're not. Because Arlette Preston lives downtown. You're not performing under her condo window, are you?
I don't think so. But I have heard. I had a couple come out of the coffee shop the other day and say, "Hey, that city council woman's in there talking trash about you." So I mean, it's not a good environment. It's not, and I mean, like, when you pull up 5 cops on the sidewalk with their lights flashing, and you surround me with 5 cops and a sheriff, I look like a criminal.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And anytime you whipped out your decimal meter, where were you at on the desk?
What they do is they say decibel reading from 25 feet away.
Okay.
So decibels can, like I said, an iPhone can get to 100 decibels.
Sure.
So they're way off on what their decibels, what the allowable decibels should be. But, I mean, if it's just a guy with a guitar, or sometimes I sit there and play a ukulele, I mean, I'm at 65, 70 decibels, you know what I mean? Where it's, I usually try to gauge it where if you're standing right by me, can you still have a conversation?
There you go.
And if you can't have a conversation, I'm playing too loud. Nobody's even going to like that. Like, it's going to be...
No, because they're out there relaxing. They may be coming out of Dempsey's or whatever bar it is, come outside, get a breath of fresh air, grab a smoke, whatever, and they still want to be entertained and sit and talk to whoever they're out there with. And if you're too loud, well, that's not entertaining for them. They're just going to go back in the bar. Hey, so I just found out Las Vegas, from a listener, the specified time frames are between 3 p.m. and 1 a.m. in Las Vegas. The city of Las Vegas encourages all performers to participate in their street performer registration program.
Yeah, well,
what does Fargo do? If Fargo wants this hip metropolitan chic downtown, well, street performers come with that. And yes, you can put rules in there. Look, you're not going to be this loud. Look, there's not going to be vulgarity. You're not going to have this. And set this up. Do like they do. Las Vegas, you can go to LasVegasNevada.com. That's where you register as a street performer. And boom, you're done, man. I mean, come on. What do you want for downtown? My God, man.
We need more music. We need culture. We need art. We need people having a good time. Make Fargo a destination. It's cold most of the time here. When it's nice, let's make it a party.
Yeah, we're in the cold season now. Winter's upon us, man. That's for sure. Listen, folks, you can go to Patrick. What's your Facebook? Just Patrick Kelly on Facebook, right?
Yep, Patrick Edward Kelly on Facebook.
Hey, look at his stuff, man. I mean, you'll see for yourself. I mean, you're not down there throwing a Tool concert.
And public opinion's on my side. If you go to the Fargo Police Department Facebook page and look at the comments from their saturation event, the people are on my side. Or I mean, like, this is not good public relations by the Fargo Police Department. Like, they need to square this out, and they need to get some answers. And
yeah. It sounds like that they didn't sit down and really talk to a whole lot of people when it comes to the ordinance for performers downtown.
We had a meeting with all the bureaucrats. It took me 3 months to get a meeting with the city attorney, Nancy Morris. And we had a meeting with all the bureaucrats from planning and just everybody, the whole team. The prosecutors were there. Everybody was there. And they asked the city council members not to be there.
Huh. Well, isn't that interesting? Wow. All right, well, keep me in the loop. Let me know what happens if anything changes down there, man. Patrick, thanks for coming in, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the conversation.
You got it. 401 News and more. We got to get Ronnie hooked up in Las Vegas. We'll do that when we come back. Jay Thomas Show. All right, another email comes to Jay. I'm very sympathetic to street musicians and used to hang out back in the day in the Twin Cities. I like the sound. It adds life. Here's a document that says licenses are required. I don't know a lot about it. Might be good to pursue. I talked to them off the air about licenses, and they don't. You get a license if you're doing an event. You just can't get a license to be a performer. Go out there every single evening. They don't do that. What a mess, man. Honestly, what a mess.
Well, and you can see in that those city commission meetings back from August, July, September, there's one that shows a specific palette about 137 addendum changes to the ordinance, and it specifically states, we're going to remove permitting, we're going to do this, so it almost looks like they're making it more difficult.
Well, that's what they're doing.
This.
Yeah. It's almost like they just don't want that down there.
Right.
So you want the downtown vibe and all that, but they don't want all the stuff that comes with it.
Certain things. Yeah.
And this isn't a bad thing, to have the street before. That's part of a vibrant downtown if that's what you want. But they don't want that, evidently.
Yeah, this isn't someone...
10 o'clock, we're done. We're shutting down at 10 o'clock.
This isn't someone urinating or defecating in the streets. It's not laying down inebriated.
I'm glad you brought that up. So we'll pander to those folks.
Yeah.
But the folks that are not down here raising hell, just doing a little street performing, which brings more people down here, those are the people we're going to harass.
Right.
But the people that are down here raising hell, doing whatever in the streets, fighting, drinking, whatever, those are the people we'll pander to them. We'll cater to them folks.
Well,
we'll take care of them. But them street performers, no. We got to get rid of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable, man.